Satan does not know the day or the hour that Jesus is coming back, but I assure you, he knows that it's short just like we do. He can look around and he can see the signs of the times. He can see what's going on in the world, and he too knows that time is very, very short. So as we watch what's going on in the world, you're either going to be watching what's going on in the world with trepidation, with some kind of concern and anxiety, because you're seeing the wars, you're seeing, we were probably on the brink of nuclear war just a couple of weeks ago between us and Iran and Israel and Iran. When the president's going to the helicopter and he's dropping F-bombs because he's getting very frustrated with Iran and Israel, he knew how close and how serious the situation was. And you could hear that stress in his voice. This is not something that is catching God by surprise. He knows what's supposed to happen, and he is directing these things because he is setting up the nations just as he has promised throughout Scripture. We don't get these things just from random acts. Thank you very much, Jerry. We don't get these things just from random conspiracy theories or anything else. We're going straight to Scripture, who has talked very plainly and very specifically about what the last days are going to look like. And this is our source of hope and our source of strength. So if you're a believer today and you're watching what's going on in the world, you are thinking, wow, we're close. Wow, it's going to happen. Wow, what the Bible is saying is happening. What God has promised is coming true. And because I've put my hope and my trust and my faith in God, I know that in the near future, God's plan, which I'm included in those plans, is going to take place. But if you don't have that hope, then you're looking out at the world and you have to look with fear. You have to look with a lot of anxiety because things seem to be spinning out of control. I tell people all the time, and I am so thankful for Jerry's prayer this morning over Israel, over the Prime Minister, over our President, over our nation. If you want to know what's going on in the world, you have to look no further than a tiny country, no bigger than the state of New Jersey, and surrounded by millions of people that want to destroy it. And the nation is Israel. It's God's time clock. He put it there for a reason. And there is tremendous amount of things happening in Israel. One of the things that a number of people have contacted me on was this expansion of the Abrahamic Accords that seems to be being led by President Trump. Some people have had concern that this might be some kind of, is this the exposure of the Antichrist? The answer is no, it's not. It is because we know that there are conditions of who the Antichrist is going to be, and we also know the church is not going to be around when he's exposed. So this is not, this is not a preclusion to say President Trump is the Antichrist. I don't believe that. He doesn't fit the qualifications for that. I'm not a Trump apologist, but I certainly do appreciate some of his faithfulness to Israel and some of his policies and standards. But this, what I believe, is a setup. Ezekiel 38:14 says that Israel is going to be in a time of tremendous peace right around the rapture. Peace, not war. And so Ezekiel 38:14 says that Israel is going to be living under a state of tremendous peace, and we're going to be living with unwalled cities and so on right before the Ezekiel 38 war takes place. And we know this is going to happen. So what I believe, what I'm seeing, if we are moving in that timeline and then we're in that time frame, is that Ezekiel 38:14 is taking place through these Abrahamic Accords that's supposed to bring a temporary lull of war and conflict that is happening in the Middle East. When the Antichrist comes, it is going to be a covenant that is going to be signed between the nations and Israel for a 7-year peace treaty. And included in that peace treaty will be the restoration of sacrificial worship on the Temple Mount in a temple. So those conditions are not yet there. but they're close. But saying that, because there's still several things that have to happen before that 7-year tribulation period begins, there is nothing preventing the church from being raptured today. We, church, are on the verge of seeing the rapture of the saints happen. It's promised in the Bible. It is clearly outlined in the Bible. I know there are some that try to say that it is not going to happen, or that this is fiction, or this is allegory, and so on and so forth. Preterism, which is saying that all Bible prophecy is history, is making a pretty big surge in the church today. It's false teaching. It is not conducive to biblical exegetical understanding of what the end times are like. Remember my saying, if the plain sense makes sense and any other sense is just plain nonsense. You have to go through you have to add or take away tremendous portions of Scripture. You have to add take Scripture and change it into allegory and voluminous amounts in order to reach that point.